Our second position of control are our throws, our trips, our slidebys, our duck unders, those attacks in which we are not connecting our hands to our opponent's legs. And this is really important because it's sort of a streamlined way in which we can score without having to put the weight of our opponent over top of us, right? So anytime we're looking to get any kind of throw, any kind of slide by, first thing we need to be aware of is that my opponent has their lines of defense and we need to get past them. So what are our opportunities to start to expose that? Our common ties are our underhook, right? I have an underhook, which means that I now am one step closer to getting past my opponent's line of defense. I can lock, twist, start to throw. I can throw by, take the back, right? Or if my opponent is, being really heavy on this overhook, I can also redirect to a foot sweep. So to get our throws, we need to have a good connection. Those good connections are either your underhook, your 2-on-1, or your collar tie, right? And now, if my opponent has a collar tie on me, this also creates a really good pathway for me on my slidebys, right? I can come over top to pull by. I can shrug, so that's coming underneath, coming by. It should be noted that all of these slidebys and throwbys are ending in our sixth position of control, which is when we're standing on our feet. So if you, again, understand how these two connect, you can be really successful. So basic things that I want to be aware of when we're thinking about throws and slidebys and trips is the position of my hips in relation to my opponent's hips. If I have an underhook, yes, this is a very dominant position. This is a position in which I can hit a lot of trips, a lot of throws from. However, if my opponent's hip and leg is in front of mine, I will not have any options. So as important as it is to have upper body control with our hand fight, it's equally important to establish a lower body positional dominance, which means that any time I'm establishing a tie, I want to get my hip in front of my opponent. So in order for my opponent to escape this position, he must bring his hip in front of mine, right? So we're always sort of foot fighting here to make sure I'm keeping that position in front. And that's also true if I'm on my 2-on-1. I'm keeping my hip and my leg in front of my opponent's. The other thing with any kind of throws, trips, is the importance of our head position. If I have an underhook, right, my opponent's first line of defense is their head. So if my opponent has head position here, I will not be able to get a successful attack. Any attempt, my opponent will be able to defend. So if you're looking for throws, duck under, slidebys, we have to check the head and get our own head position as we start to attack. And then I should say defensively, if my opponent has position on me, what I want to do the opposite. I want to check, I want to get my head in position. This is my first line of defense. If I'm starting to give up that top control, I'm getting my own head position. I now can create space and escape some of these ties. But basic principles, again, wherever the head goes, the body must follow. So offensively, if you want to attack throws and trips and slidebys, I need to be able to be in good position with my head, get my opponent out of position. Offensively, I need to dominate the angle, so I need to get my hip in front of my opponent's hip so that I have the leverage to throw and push and pull better than my opponent. And again, defensively, it's the inverse. We want to establish head position. We want to do good footwork and foot fighting to get back to that neutral position. So that's our next area of positional control, our throws, our trips, our slidebys, which we'll go into much greater detail at another time.